It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward.
You want something, go get it. Period.
You gotta keep moving, let's keep moving, let's go. Don't quit till you got nothing left.
This is where we have been, this is how we got here, this is who we are.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
You're listening to the Hustle Indy Show, sponsored by FS Houses, where we seek out some of Indy's most hustling people and places to learn about what they do, how they got started, and where they're going. Sit back and enjoy the show.
All right, well, welcome back to another episode of the Hustle Indy Show. It is exciting to be here. Again, every day is a new and fun opportunity to learn more about some awesome people in this city. If you didn't notice already, we are missing my lovely friend and co-host Ian DeFelice. He was unable to make it into the shop this morning, so we will be missing him, but we will continue on. We've got some awesome guests in the house. We want to thank our sponsor before we continue, FS Houses. If you need anything related to marketing, real estate, whatever it is that they do, make sure to get a hold of them. They're awesome people, and we want to thank them for sponsoring this show. And we're going to move right into the guest of the day. I want to welcome Casey Szink to the show. Thank you, Casey, for being here.
Thanks for having me. Good morning.
How are you doing today?
Doing well.
I understand it is your birthday.
It is my birthday.
So you're 22, 23?
23-ish.
23? Okay, cool.
Give or take 12 years.
Got any plans for today?
Working.
Working? Yep. Hustle never stops.
Never stops.
Yep.
Doesn't stop for birthdays and stop for anything.
So tell us a little bit about what you do.
So it's sort of a loaded question because I kind of wear a lot of hats. But currently, my bread and butter, my main focus is being manager of Peak Fitness up at 62nd and Binford.
What's that all about?
So Peak Fitness with the big shutdowns and all that stuff, that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back with that gym. And there's a lot of backstory to this, but another guy and I just decided to come in, and there was probably 4 of us total that made it happen, and they decided they wanted me as the manager and kind of be the face of the gym per se.
Yeah.
And it's just it was all happenstance.
Really?
Yeah. I met the owner at the beginning of the summer. It was just the wildest
Wow.
thing. Yeah.
And so you just kind of one thing fell into the other,
Yeah.
and you just stepped into this role?
Yeah.
So how long you been doing that?
So since September 15th.
Of this year?
Yeah, just started.
Really?
Yeah.
So how's that been?
It's been interesting.
Interesting?
It's been a struggle. I have to be careful how I word everything because I really don't want to insult accidentally insult like the previous owner or something. But if you know those bar rescue shows and stuff like that, it's like playing gym rescue.
Really?
So there were a lot of things. There was sort of that set it and forget it mentality that happened. The gym's been around for 37 years.
Oh, really?
I mean, it's one of the oldest fitness facilities in Indy.
Huh.
It's been in a few different locations. It's been in this location for 35 years.
Wow.
And it was one of those things where, when it was announced, we were scrambling. We got to save this some way or another. We were going to move it, and we had it all set up to go to an old CrossFit gym.
Really?
And then literally last minute, like it was the Friday before the September 12th, a meeting happened with the landlord. And then September 14th at about 11 a.m., pen was put to paper. So
wow.
like the last day that it was supposed to be open there before the doors were shut, it was like, nope, let's get the keys. We're going to keep on going.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So you said you wear a lot of hats. What else do you dabble in?
So I am an independent trainer, and I've had my own LLC for about 3 years now.
Okay.
So that's the other thing I do, and I still do that. I'm just not pushing it very hard right now because I'm trying to focus on the gym. But I sort of need to push it because that's my only income right now.
Really? Yeah.
But the other thing I do, I also own a nonprofit called Energy Crazed. And we haven't done anything with that year. I took over started the conversation last summer, was named executive director last fall, and then took official ownership as far as the state's concerned in January. And then the world lost its mind and we shut down.
I was about to say, yeah. Yeah.
So, and the thing is it's an after-school program. It's an in-home program. It's a group workout program, and all of that is done right now.
Yeah.
So we've just been kind of like, all right.
Yep. Just kind of waiting.
Yeah, and it's like I
there.
haven't pushed the fundraising that hard because how can I raise money for something that's not doing anything? And in our target audience, it's a nonprofit, so our target audience is not someone that can go virtual. It's not someone that can afford services.
Yeah.
Our target audience is someone it's the low socioeconomic areas. It's the people that can't just go make something happen.
Yeah.
Well,
Can't just go buy a laptop and jump on Zoom.
Exactly.
And,
yeah.
How did you get started in all of this? So, are you from Indianapolis originally?
So, I'm originally from Southern Indiana, but
Really?
I've been in Indy since 07.
We're around Southern Indiana.
Vincennes.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was born in Lafayette, adopted when I was about 2.5.
Oh, cool.
Grew up in Vincennes. As soon as I got out of college, I had to get out of there. It just wasn't big enough for me. I'm a busy
Yeah.
body. I can't
Yeah.
I can't stop moving. And I had my eye on the prize of Indy for many, many years. And at the moment I graduated, I moved up here,
Really?
$500 in my pocket, and said,
Really?
"We're doing this."
Yeah. What did you study when you were down there?
I actually am an IT guy by trade.
Okay, so did you come up here expecting to
Yeah.
be doing IT work?
Yeah, and I did it for a few years.
Okay, yeah. So then how did you transition from IT work to kind of where you're at now with all the hats that you wear?
Man, the hustle. It's just
Really?
It's just one of those things where with my personality, and I am like textbook extrovert, so I can't help myself. I always have to be out and around people. And then I was a car guy as well. So after I moved to Indy, I got my first IT job. I worked for a community hospital. I was a contractor, but I worked for community hospital. Met one of my best friends. He was a car guy. He got a car. And before I even moved to Indy, I wanted to start a car show in Indy.
Really?
Based off the California Cars and Coffee. And we got together. We just started rolling with it. And then I just met a ton of people.
Really?
And just as time went on, just all the connections that I made from all the different things that I dabbled in and
That's
dipped my toes
crazy.
into. And here we are.
Yeah.
I really don't know how I got here.
You just never
Just
stopped.
sort of happened.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah.
Someone just suggested to me back in 2017. They were like, as I was in a weird. We'll get to this later, but you know, we have a lot of failures in our life and we learn from them, right? And my failures all culminated into basically a rock bottom when I was about 30, and 29, 30. And somebody suggested in 2017 is like, why don't you be a personal trainer? It's like I was always decent at sales. I was good with people. I loved fitness and being healthy and stuff. And I was like, all right. So I studied it, got the cert, and just started
Really?
training people.
How long did that take? How long does it process?
6 months to get the cert.
Okay.
You can do it faster, you can do it slower. It just depends. It's self-study. A lot of people go to college for it. I'm an IT guy, so I
I
just
was
opened
about
up
to
a
say.
textbook, and I was like, here we go.
Yeah.
You know? And then actually, before I even got certified, I started working at Peak Fitness at the
Okay.
desk. And the long game for that, I'm always thinking long game. And I thought, long game for this is I'm going to have my face in front of all these people. And here, when people ask them for trainers and stuff, and be like, you know, we've got the owner or the manager, and then I'm going to be, you know, I have a job. I have
Yeah.
a job myself. I'll
Yeah.
be out there, and that's how I got my first client. He was a member of the gym. He came in. I was just BSing with him before he even got a membership, and I said, yeah, and I'm going to be certified here pretty soon. I got my test in December. Blah blah blah. And he goes, hit me up when you're done.
Really?
He was my first client in January.
So he was.
Yeah.
How hard was it then to build that client base after that?
It's tough, man. It's
Really?
tough. It's you know, you were talking about on I think your second episode about social media. It's just how it has to be done these days. And I actually don't like social media.
Really?
Which is weird. Being an extrovert that I am, I hate. I shouldn't say I hate. I get annoyed by all the opinions, and that's what drives me nuts.
Yeah.
But in this day and age, if you're not on social, you don't exist. The yellow pages aren't a thing.
Yep.
Yelp only goes so far. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you have to have a presence. And you know, back to where we were starting, how I got into this. You know, the previous owner of Peak didn't do anything
Really?
technology. He was an older guy. He just
yeah.
didn't know. You know, you can't damn him for it, but. And it's one of those things, no one knew it existed. You know, he made a huge reputation for himself as being this massive, super highly successful aerobics gym.
Yeah.
And like wildly successful. And he rode on that for a while. But then those people got older, and then my generation and the generation after me come in, they're like, who?
Exactly. Yeah.
He doesn't lift anything. You know, it's like, it's in a strip mall. Back in the day, a strip mall gym, you're like, oh, that's the place. These days, you see a strip mall gym, you're like, the sign doesn't match. like at night right now, our sign's messed up. It just says itness, and it's just like, how could that be any good? You know.
Yeah.
But it's like it's one of the dopest gyms I've ever been in. So, like even before I worked there, I had driven by it because it's on Binford. You look over, it's next to Blind Down. You're like, oh, all right.
Yeah.
You don't think anything of it.
Yeah.
And I went in there to get the job, and I walked in, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah. This is actually pretty sweet.
Like, what are you doing, man? You know, so it's like, now that I'm the manager, I've made it my baby.
Okay.
And low-key, what isn't really well known is that I'm a minor partner. I just don't have any money involved. It's sweat equity. So I've been working my tail off just cleaning the place top to bottom.
Really?
I'm managing all of the social. I'm managing all the customer expectations. I'm putting in, I'm averaging about 84 hours a week at the place. And, you know, I haven't even gotten a paycheck yet. But that's okay because long game. Again, always think long term. I will be the owner. At some point in time, the current owner, who is also an older guy, isn't going to want to run and own this forever. He's going to want to finally whatever. And that's when it's going to be, I'm going to finally step in and do my dream.
Yeah, he's going to look around and see that there's one guy that's taking care of this better than anyone else. And
right.
That's you. You're going to step into that role.
Yeah.
So it sounds like it's not exactly, it's kind of a two-part system. There's the part of like things kind of fall into place, but the bigger part of it seems to be that hustle, that constant grind of like, even if things aren't in place, you're still pushing and making things happen.
Yeah.
So how does that work then? So if you're in a situation where things aren't falling into place, how do you keep that mindset going? How do you stay focused on driving?
It's that long-term focus. And it's, to step back, I mentioned the failures thing. I live by the statement, the path to success is paved in failure. And honestly, the first 30 years of my life were just one mega failure. And it all culminated until I hit a rock bottom, and I reflected, and I said, this isn't the right direction. This isn't good. But I've met a lot of people. I've learned a lot of things. I've worn a lot of hats. I started in IT. I went into software. Then I went into sales. Then I traveled the country teaching people how to drive supercars. And all this wild, weird stuff that I that I dabbled into. And I was like, this is all going to come together. And I'm going to learn something new. I'm going to become a better person, and we're going to make something of this. And that was the turning point of me thinking long term. Because in everything up until about 30, it was all short term. It was like, this is going to make me happy now.
Really?
This is going to do this now. But I didn't have any savings. I cashed out a 401k when I was 25. I mean, it was just the dumbest, just the biggest mistakes. So now it's like, I know, because I have failed so many times and so hard, the biggest growth comes from the hardest failures. And I have done that, and I've learned that. So now when things aren't working, right, when this didn't fall into place the way I wanted it to, the timeline is behind, I'm like, it's okay, because we got time. We'll get there. It'll all happen. And that's you just got to keep that focus. You got to keep hustling. You cannot stop. If you want to be successful, if you want to be an entrepreneur, if you want to make it and you're not satisfied with just sitting at a desk being bossed around by somebody else, you can't stop. Yeah. And then when you think you've made it, yeah. Sit down, keep pushing. Yep. Keep your head up, keep focused.
So you mentioned that time period around, what is it, after all those failures where that kind of clicked, the long-term kind of focus on the end goal. Was there a certain failure or a certain moment in time where it was like you realized that all of this stuff was short-term?
Lost everything.
Really?
Literally, when I say rock bottom, it wasn't, it was just, I literally lost everything. I lost relationships. I lost my family. I lost all of my income. I lost my toys, my cars, and all this stuff. I lost my house. I mean, I lost literally everything. And it was just like that mega backhanded slap to the face. And it was like, wake up. Yeah. And that's... Yeah, so it really sucks that it happened that way. Yeah. But like I said, the biggest growth comes from the biggest failures. And you're never equal to your past, right? Your character is developed from that.
So I think it can be easy, I mean, from personal experience and others around, when you're at that moment in time where you've lost everything, it can be so easy to keep kicking yourself down and using that as a card as oh, I don't have anything. And that's an excuse to continue staying down there. What drove you? Did you have any inspiration or anyone outside that you looked up to that drove you to kind of pull yourself out of that pit?
Yes and no. So the easy way is boring, and I'm not a boring kind of person. I don't like being bored. I'm ADHD, man. I got to keep moving. Yeah. That's why, and that's kind of why I get myself into so many different things. But it was that knowing that was the easy way. And that wasn't going to get me anywhere, and that wasn't going to help me, and that wasn't going to build up a support group. That wasn't it, right? Yeah. And then I had a family member. It's sort of complicated, but I'll call it a family member that was just like, you are not equal to your past. You can be more. And this is the person that said, why don't you think about being a personal trainer? Yeah. And that was the person out of all of this, everything that was kind of going on, rock bottom, being pushed down, and she was like, no, keep going. Yeah,
that's awesome.
And it was the culmination of her little push and me not being satisfied with how terrible I had developed my life into be, that I was just like, all right.
How quickly then from that moment did it take for you to kind of feel more established and that you had started to get back on the right track?
Well, today I turned 35 and we're getting close.
There you go. Yeah.
So we're not there yet, but I am so focused now. And being in the role that I'm in and being right where I am now, it's like you've got that 5,000 piece puzzle.
Yeah.
And you got the edge, you got this chunk, this chunk, this chunk, and it's just like, okay, there's 30,000 colors right here, and I got this many pieces left, but we're gonna start. Okay, that one goes there. Well, it's all right, fine, we got that one. All right, let's work on this one now, and that's where we are now. So I mean, it's been 5-6 years now, but we're getting there.
Yeah.
We're getting there. I'm feeling better.
So Indianapolis specifically, what role does the city play in both your life and your business ventures?
Man, this city, this is the coolest city. Like this, I've been joking because I'm not originally from here.
Yeah.
But it's just amazing to me the amount of people that I've met in all of these different paths. This is the biggest little town there is. Like where I grew up, a lot of people knew each other, but a lot of people didn't, just because it was kind of a dingy little place. I mean, the only reason it had a population because it's a college town. Vincent's University's there. But you come up here and it's got that same kind of feel, but it's urban. And there's 600. What is it? A few, I don't remember the population, but it's all of that. But everybody seems to know each other, especially if you get in a niche. You get in the fitness community, you go meet one person and be like, hey, do you know that person? Yeah, I know that. And then suddenly you're connected to 300 people, just like that. It's wild being a car guy. It's like, hey, do you know the guy with that car? Yeah, oh, that's my buddy. And suddenly you're connected to 300 people.
Yeah.
And that's the coolest thing about Indy. And I just don't think that happens in a lot of the other big cities.
Yeah.
They're so either really condensed or extremely spread out. It just doesn't happen. And the community here is pretty dope. Say what you will about anything, but there's a lot of like liberal areas around here, and the community that kind of goes along with that. You look at Fountain Square, you look at Mass Ave, you look at Broad Ripple, all these little communities, and how that all comes together, and how everyone's super community focused, and that pays dividends for this kind of thing.
How much has those relationships and those networking that you've mentioned, like you get in your niche and you see 300 new people, how much has that helped you when developing this galvanized fitness and all of that stuff?
It's that word of mouth. Yeah, it's the old relationships, and then you just keep throwing it on social media, and eventually somebody goes, I knew that guy at one point in time.
Yeah.
One of my clients right now is a guy that used to go to the bar when I was a waiter / dishwasher / cook / bartender. And I served him his vodka waters with 3 limes, and he followed me on Facebook many years ago, and just kept seeing my stuff and decided he wanted to make a change. And now he's been my client for well over a year now.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And then there's Tony DeKaiser from the Smiley Morning Show.
Really?
I just so happened to be listening to the radio that particular morning, and I went the wrong way because of traffic, thinking I was going to take a dope detour, which turned into just the worst detour ever. And because of that, I was listening to the radio a little longer, and everybody was talking about this freaking fat off they were doing, and everyone's got a trainer except for little old Tony. And so I sit at a stoplight, I'm like, Twitter, I'm like, boom, let me be your trainer. And then we trained together for a year.
Wow.
Right. We're on break right now, but she wants to come back. I mean, it's just
That's awesome.
Little things like that. And then training her, that's got me a couple. It's just that dabble and dangle it and leverage the relationships and just be genuine and be kind, and eventually they will come.
Do you feel like there's a lot of like competition from other trainers and gyms around the area, or is it kind of like helping each other up?
At face value, I love this question. I'm glad you asked this.
Yeah.
So the kind of person I am in it for the bigger picture. I don't feel like I'm competing against anybody else. It's really funny because this almost exact same question was just asked of me last night.
Really?
My girlfriend was just like, how do you deal with it when you feel like someone's smarter and better and whatever? And I'm just like, here's the deal. I can watch them. I can learn from them.
Yeah.
I can meld it into my own if I like it. And we can go from there. And it's you can be inspired by the others, and then you make that's my next challenge. That person's more successful than me. That's my next challenge. So business-wise, I want to be better.
Yeah.
But bigger picture, I have a person that was going to come and be an independent trainer at Peak. And she was working at a gym in Carmel. And, I said, come build your legacy here. They're not giving you what you want. It's been a long time of empty promises. Just come do your thing here. And it's like, it's rent, right? You can charge whatever you want, do it whenever you make your own schedule. You're fully independent.
Yeah.
And she was in, and then she put in her notice at the other gym and was like all gung-ho to get started. And that was a catalyst, and they realized what they were about to lose, and they offered her a job. So now I'm holding on to her, and I'm like, I got a question about somebody with an eating disorder. It was a female with an eating disorder, which is unfortunately super common. And I have no, I don't know. I know what I've read in textbooks and things like that, but I don't know. My style of training and coaching and stuff is probably okay for somebody with an eating disorder because I don't do restriction, but I don't know.
Yeah.
So now I got her on the leash. I'm like, hey, what do you know? And she's like, well, other than personal experience, nothing like personal experience trumps. I don't care what you read in a textbook, you've lived it.
Yeah.
So now I've got her. I will have no problem if somebody comes to me and say, I have this problem. Be like, you know what? I've got somebody for you. And if somebody's not close enough to the gym, it's like, don't go out of your way to come to my gym when you've got a better opportunity there. So when it comes down to it, I just want people to be healthy. I want people to achieve. I've worked with people completely for free because it was a single mom with a deadbeat dad. And I'm like, you know what? Just get in here. Let's just do this thing. And these are the people that just turn into some of your best relationships and your best clients and can get you more. It's one of those things. If you're kind, you stick to it, and you do what's right, the rest will come. And it's putting in those pieces, and it just all leads together.
I've seen, like, as I'm hearing you talk about this and reflecting on some of the other episodes you've recorded, there's this common theme of, like, you notice some of the most successful individuals aren't as concerned about the money or being the most successful person. They're just doing the right thing. They are helping people. They are lending a hand when it's needed and just doing what they know how to do well.
Right.
And working on perfecting that craft. And it's really cool to hear that from you. I mean, in the fitness industry, something that so many people take for granted, like personal health, personal fitness, you're helping them do that. And you care more about that than you do getting their wallet out of their back pocket.
Exactly.
And it's really cool to hear all of that.
Yeah, and I've learned that from just in my travels. The owner of Gator Motorsport, young Kim, was the first person to tell me that. It's like, do the right thing and the money will come. And that really resonated hard with me. And then you got The Rock. You got Dwayne Johnson. It's like, be the hardest working dude in the room. And I have lived by that creed for 6 years now. It's like, I will work harder at failing than you worked at winning. And I'm okay with that because I put in the effort and I did the work.
Yeah.
It's all right. I'll get you next time. I'll get you one of these times. It's fine. But I'm going to work hard. And the thing is there's that perception of effort there too.
Yeah.
And, I'm hustling. And I'm totally cool. If it doesn't work out, if I'm not the right fit for you, whatever, fine, right on. Somebody will be, it will come.
Yeah. So if you are looking for advice or wanting to kind of find an answer to a problem that you might not know yet, do you have a certain set of people in the area that you go to ask questions?
I try to.
Okay.
Good example. I wanted to upgrade our gym and membership management software because the software that they were using, it's kind of my favorite joke. It was developed in 1985, which is funny because that's when I was born, and it looks like they stopped developing it in 1986. Oh. I mean, it's as an IT guy, it's garbage. It's clunky. It doesn't make any sense. You have to have a server. It's like it's 2020, man. It's the cloud. I feel like the Minions, the claw. But it's just like this doesn't work for me. It's too clunky. It's based on SQL, which is all right, but I don't know I don't know how old you are, but I don't know if you remember Geocities. Back in the day, if you wanted to make a website, you went to Geocities. Huh. This software looks like Geocities. I mean, it's just garbage. It's these weird graphics and everything's square, and you can't expand the window. And it's just like, I can't deal with this. So I thought, all right, what are the successful gyms in Indy that are newer, that have gotten things right? And I thought of Indy City Barbell and Steve Gentile.
Yeah.
And I met him, when he first came to town before he started his gym. He was coming to Peak with his friend Garrett. And I reached out to him, and it's a crapshoot for some of these really popular people if you're going to get an answer. But I was like, I'll try it. And I sent him messages, hey, simple. It's like, hey, what software do you use to manage the gym and your 24-hour access and all that stuff? And he said, Gym Master. And I said, right on. So I started looking around. And I got a demo, and I started doing all these. I did weeks of research, and I was just totally sold. And I was like, there's my answer. He's a successful gym. He got a good piece of software. He saw that he just needed to make the investment and run with it. And I was like, this is it. And that's where he is. So, being in touch with the community and watching, this is where social media does come into play.
Yeah.
Notably Instagram, not Facebook. But watching these people, and again, it's just keeping an eye on them and seeing how they do things. And it's obviously worked for them. And it's like, okay, well, how can I use this? And just know that at some point in time, I'll send them a message, right? And now I'm getting into some of the other people, the local fitness places. I just met the owner of Capture Fit this past weekend, and that same night I met a whole bunch of local trainers and stuff. So now I'm going to work on some like joint workouts and stuff to get some more exposure. And it's just all these little, again, it's just being somewhere and the piece falls in place.
It's really cool to hear about the collaboration effect happening. Like, you don't have Joe Blow over here and then John down the street butting heads constantly about, oh, I'm not telling you anything, I'm not helping you at all. It's kind of like Joe's telling him, hey, this is something that'll help your gym work out better. And it's like, you guys care about the people that you're training. And like you said earlier, if you live next to a gym, that's just fine. Don't drive 30 minutes to come see me. Go get the gym, get what you need. It's really cool to hear that collaboration and that the small city, urban community feel that you mentioned earlier is really neat.
Yeah, and I mean, right where we are, right across the street is Live Right Fitness. And somebody comes in the Peak, they want amenities. They want sauna, hot tub, or pool, and all that stuff. We ain't got it.
Yeah.
We got a locker room, we got your weights and your cardio. You just this is one of those places. If you need that, right across the street, Live Right. They're good people. Go see them. They got a pool, they got a sauna, all that stuff. We're never gonna have it. I'm just not interested in paying for it, and we don't have the space and the amount what it would take to put that in. It's just not worth it. So if you have to have that, we're just not the right place. And that's how when people call or email any of that stuff, I'm just, they're asking these questions. I'm like, just come get a workout, man.
Yeah.
If we're the right fit, we are. If we're not, sorry. Enjoy. Good luck.
So how would you describe then the feel of your gym? What crowd does it cater to?
So it's funny you asked that. It caters to everybody. It literally has something for everyone. I mean, just over the majority of our members are over 60 years old. The next slot is the younger people, and it's like then we got everything in between, and we have everything from just like we got machines from the 80s to the coolest machines you've ever seen that people don't really use correctly, but they're easy to use, and up front we've got newer stuff that looks prettier. We've got then we have like full blown really high-end powerlifting equipment. I just built a platform. We got 2 massive power racks that are like brand new. I think they're like $15,000. I mean, and we got some really cool stuff. So I'm a powerlifter. The owner's a powerlifter. We have a competition coming up in 6 weeks. We got a handful of other powerlifters. Then we got the old folks who just come in and they're just moving, being healthy. Awesome. We got a bunch of high school kids, the local Catholic school kids coming in. And then we've got just everyone in between. So it really has something for everyone.
How big is the customer base? How many clients do you have?
Well, that's a fun question. Last year, before everything, I call it BC, before COVID, there were, if the numbers are correct, which they might be slightly skewed, but there were about 1,300 members.
Wow, okay.
AC, it went down to 800.
Wow.
But then, again, crippling.
Yeah.
And that's why we're here. And then... when the gym shut down, technically via their contract, we could have just assumed ownership of those memberships. But ethically, that's just not right.
Yeah. And
also, that's a lot of work.
Oh, yeah.
Because legally, between business entities, you can't transfer financial information. That's highly illegal, And it's like, so we would have had to get all that information from everybody anyway. So we wouldn't be able to build you unless you came in, or if I sat there and I went through our 1,300 member list and started calling people, cold calling. Which a lot of these people aren't members because they moved or something. And just like, that's just, I'm going to get there anyway because just might as well. But it's just, so we started fresh. And I'm a little perturbed about this because we just manually imported everybody into the new software system so I could save $400 because I'm a cheapie like that. And I don't mind data entry. It's whatever. I did that for years.
You got a background in it.
Yeah, it's fine. It's whatever. I can churn through that stuff pretty quickly. But the previous software said that we were approaching our break-even point of 400 members. So right now, this is a lot of information. It's not really like widely available, but we're only actually leasing 8,000 square feet of a 17,000 square foot facility.
Wow.
And we're slowly making changes, and we're adding on to the lease to keep a little bit more than we originally signed on for. Again, this is so last minute that was just like, that's what got us there. That's what allowed us to keep the doors open. Fine. Now we're expanding. And so at that, technically over, an average cost of membership would be about 400 members is our break-even point. And according to the old software, I was approaching 380. And I was like, all right, man, we're doing it. We're doing this thing. I'm so excited. And then we do the manual data entry and get everybody into the new software, and I get done. I'm like, all right, let's run the numbers. 280. What?
Oh,
we're not even
wow.
to 300 yet? Like,
Yeah.
what happened? So it's like we're pretty far away from the goal that I had, but it's all right. Again, long term.
Yeah. So moving forward, then, what are some of your guys' goals, or how do you plan on kind of rebuilding that and starting over?
So right now, it's been a lot of word of mouth. It's been me actually taking over social media. It took me a month, but I got a hold of our Google listing finally.
There you go.
A random chance phone call from Yelp got me back onto the Yelp system, so now I have control of that and have that updated. Put in a request to claim the business on Nextdoor, where they gave me the wrong page, so it took another week to get the correct one that already had 80 recommendations.
Yeah.
So now there's 2 of them. And I'm slowly getting the website updated and getting instructors back in and new instructors and really hoping we can start opening things up again.
Yeah.
That's a different discussion. But you know, it's just we're in a weird spot though. I really want to pay for advertising and I really want to push, but we're making changes.
Yeah.
And it's just not a great experience for a new person to come in while we're moving things. That pardon our dust sign. You don't go into a new place and get excited by pardon our dust signs. You're like, can I come back later? Like, when are you going to be done?
Yeah.
I just want to work out, you know, and I'm moving stuff. I should be done moving the big stuff within a few weeks. Just got this new software. I got everybody into the software, but now I have to install some hardware to do a full switch over to the new key fobs and the entry and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to have that done in 2 to 3 weeks. Then I am going to just go. My goal is to start going ape just before Thanksgiving on every platform and really push it. And that way we can accept the influx of people. Right now, if the influx of people come in, I've got 2 simultaneous software pieces with an old swiper and a new puck, and I don't have the hardware installed, and I haven't moved the desk over to our actual entrance, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it's just not a good experience to get an influx of people right now. As soon as that's done, and my goal is Thanksgiving, going ape. We're going to smash the social media. I'm going to spend some dollars on advertising there, then Yelp, on Nextdoor, to get the Google listing really hammered. And that, I mean, I'm just going to hammer it. I'm trying to bring in some groups, bring them in for free, do some collaborative work with some people, bringing in some new members that will also provide their services there.
Yeah.
That are interested in integrating what they provide, like a nutrition coach.
Oh, yeah, that'd be cool.
Right. So, and I'm technically a nutrition coach, but it's just not my bread and butter. I got the knowledge, I got the certification so that I would have the knowledge and I could talk about it, but I like the fitness aspect.
Yeah.
So, you know, I've got a really good friend who used to be a member there, who does that nutrition is her thing. That's what her LLC is. You know, that's what her business is. So she's going to come back as a member, and we're going to offer membership packages that include nutrition coaching.
Yeah.
Right. And when these other things settle down, I won't have to be doing all this administrative stuff for 84 hours a week. I can start pushing my training again, which you get more people in there, which can, you know, and it's all about thinking about all these little pieces that add up for revenue generation and member retention and getting all these new people, getting us back out there. Because a lot of people, you know, here's the wild thing about social, which drives me just nuts. More people saw the post about the gym closing that have seen anything since.
That's
and
crazy.
we still have people coming in and going, I thought you closed. But we also have people coming in that had no idea that there was an ownership change, that we were almost moved, that we almost shut the doors. They just showed up and they're just like, they swipe and, you know, it says, no, don't allow. And I'm like, I haven't seen you in a while. When was the last time? I've been here in a couple months.
Wow.
Oh, there was an ownership change. They go, what? And it's like I've been all over all of the channels. How do you not know yet? And it's just, it's because, you know, the way that stuff works, that you got to put some effort into it. And I've been putting light effort into it now, just to get reestablished and kind of get it out. But as soon as these changes are there and we're ready to accept it, it's like I'm going full bore.
Yeah.
Full bore.
You mentioned that you guys are having, you said you're having a competition. Is that at that gym? Or?
No, it is not at that gym.
Okay.
So we're not set up to host a competition yet.
Moving forward, is that something you might look forward to? Okay.
Yes, it is definitely. With the owner and I both being powerlifters, we definitely want to do something. Probably start with some small, low-key charity events.
Yeah.
A lot of my buddies, you know, Training Point's done it, and you see Barbell's done it. My friends up in South Bend at East Race Muscle, they've done it. And I've been all of these charity events, and they're a blast. They're super low-key. It's like 20, 30 people total. You don't need a lot of space. You don't need a lot of setup. It's just like you come in and people just lift, have fun, and compete a little bit. The competition we're doing in December is a full-blown USPA, like bring out the singlet, get drug tested. Like, I mean, it's a kind of, it's, I'm personally hoping to break a national record and establish some state records. And it's just, we're just not in a place to handle that. 2 reasons. Our space is weirdly divided. We couldn't have that many people in there, especially with what's going on right now. And we would alienate 70% of our member base by having a competition day.
Yeah.
And that's something you got to think about. Right now is not a time we want to make anybody angry.
Yeah. Especially when
you're trying to rebuild, you're trying to kiss as many butts as possible. You know?
Yeah.
But yes, future, we've already had that conversation. It's like, what do we have to do? And I said, we'll start with some charity events next year when things calm down. And we'll start with a couple charity events and we'll go from there.
So you personally, moving forward, what are some goals that you have both in your own personal fitness and then in the company and the other hats you might wear?
Oh, that's awesome. That's a good question. Let's start with me personally. My personal goals, this competition I'm doing December 12th is my first legitimate. I've done 6 competitions, but they've all been charity or fun events. So this is my first one. Like, this is the first time I've owned a singlet and I'm going out there and like doing the thing. So that's pretty cool. My next goal is to do another competition in spring, lose 22 pounds, and knock out the state records that are in the weight class lower than mine, because right now I'm thick boy season. But I kind of like being thick boy season. I don't need visible abs.
Yeah.
But next year, so that's my next goal. That's short term. Outside of that, that's just fun stuff. It's just whatever. For my personal business, Galvanized, I want to be able to step back from all the administrative stuff for the gym and having to be there paperwork, so that I can start pushing for clients again. Right now I have 9, I think. I want at least 20.
Yeah.
Like, I want to fill my day with helping people. And then I can do the managerial and stuff like that. The gym itself, this software and the hardware that I got is a step into bringing us into the century. And my goal is sometime Q1 next year, go 24 hours. That requires some build out of some of the layout of the gym currently, because we're not keeping the entire 17,000 square feet. We're going to keep, it'll probably be a little over 10.
Okay.
So we have to secure that area before I can make it 24 hours, because I can't just have people just having the ability at 3 o'clock in the morning wandering around and letting themselves into the fridge and, stuff like that. But what this investment we made with the software and the hardware, excuse me, is directly setting me up for that. Literally, after I get this first piece installed and we do the little build out that we need to do to secure the rest of the facility, all I need is a handful of cameras and electronic lock, and I'm ready to go 24 hours. So it's like, that was the setup. And again, that's the long game.
Yeah.
So that's the goal with that. Once we go 24 hours, the place becomes autonomous at that point. You only have to be there at the desk during times when somebody might come in with a membership inquiry. Well, also with the software I got, you can sign up online. So if I'm not at the desk, I'm going to have a door reader, and I'm going to have a little thing on the door that says, interested in a membership, scan this, get a free 3-day pass. Scan, and in that same place, you can sign up for an actual membership. And then it'll be 24 hours. And it's like little things like that, I was tossing all these ideas around in my head, and I was losing sleep. And somebody had the brilliant idea of, why don't you write it down? And I said, wow. So I wrote it down. It took me 2 days to put it together, but it was 40 things. It's like, these are the 40 things that I think we need to do over however long it needs to take to make this place as successful as I think it should be, and put it in the place that I think it should be. And it's that step-by-step piece. The next step for Energy Crazed is getting to a point where I can feel good about putting a program together and sending a coach into a home or a school or a park or whatever, and not worrying about backlash or perception and things like that, and start hammering fundraising for that again and getting that because it was a great nonprofit. The people that started it were wonderful people. They were doing really well. They just ran out of time. And, and I've got great people on the team too. Like, it's a whole bunch of local, really focused people that are in it for the total health. It's Jeremy McGrew, the president, founder of Indie Fitness Mag. It's Tony from the Smiley Morning Show. She's the events person. I've got people from Tandem Nutrition, which is a nutrition coaching company. 2 of those people. And I've got Polly, who is another local trainer that's really good with working with kids. And I've got this awesome team, and nothing to do with anybody. It's just garbage. And then I also want to integrate that into the gym.
I was just about to ask, do you see in the future kind of any collaboration between the 2 of them?
100%. We have a studio. We have an aerobics studio. Yeah. Bring the kids in. Let's do group workouts. You know what I mean? It was so many things that we can do with me being the manager, future owner of a gym.
Yeah.
I mean, the sky's the limit on what I can do to integrate it.
Yeah.
And that's just so good. And then, I've been brainstorming different ways. A lot of these people, the low socioeconomic areas, it's tough for them to get somewhere.
Yeah.
All right, what kind of public transport can I work with? Can I work with Indigo?
Yeah.
They got all these new bus lines that are going through that are pretty simple and real. Well, I think I read the most you're ever going to spend on a bus is $15 a week.
Wow.
You could be on it every single, if I read it correctly, you could be ride it every single day to and from work wherever, and the most it caps it, and the most you're going to spend is like $15 a week if you
That's
actually use it.
crazy.
The red line, and I think the future one's blue, purple, whatever. And that is so cool. It's so cool the city's finally getting a chance. So many people are up in arms about it.
Yeah.
Look to the future, y'all. It's a minor inconvenience for the help of everyone. Get your head out of your ass.
Yeah.
But and looking to that is looking at these public transport systems that are finally getting put in place in this really spread out urban area that we have. Now these people in the low socioeconomic areas, it's a nonprofit. I'll pay for your bus pass.
Yeah.
I'll get you up here. I don't
Yeah.
care. Just get up here. Let's get healthy. You know what I mean? And getting all of that integration, putting all of these pieces together, personally, galvanized, peak, energy crazed, and bringing it all together, and then bringing these other groups together, like the Canal Squad, which is a super dope thing. They're linked up with Capture Fitness, and just all these other local trainers and fitness celebrities and influencers, whatever they're called, collaborating. Putting all these pieces together, and I mean the overbearing message, the overbearing goal, regardless of how much money ends up in my pocket, whatever, as long as I can pay my bills, I'm cool. Is just get Indy healthy. Indy was ranked poor. It was on the list of like 100 cities. Indy was at one point was at the bottom of the list. I think we're up to 96 now. We got a long way to go.
Yeah. And
that's why I brought Jeremy into as the president of the nonprofit, because with Indy Fitness Mag, I mean, their slogan is last to first.
Yeah.
So it all ties together. That's regardless of who's got a successful business and who wants to make the money and be the best and all that stuff. At the end of the day, we just want the world to be healthier. And as long as we all have that same mental direction, it can all work. So yes, that's all those things, individual pieces that come together.
That's really cool. So if someone is out there and wants to learn more about you and your work, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
galvanizedfitness.com.
Okay. Then
simple.
The gym, what's the best way for them to learn more about that?
It's the worst website ever. It's peakperformancefitnesscenter.com.
Okay. And
go to the Instagram profile and click it.
Gotcha. Yep. Yeah. So then is there anything else you would share personally about the business, about your personal business, about the nonprofit that you think you would love those listening to hear?
Yes. So for the nerdy folks, they're going to love why I called my business Galvanized Fitness. All right. If you're any good at chemistry, you understand the use of zinc. Okay. So my last name is Szink. It's pronounced zinc. It's spelled differently, but it's pronounced zinc. And when you add zinc as an oxide to a metal, it strengthens it. It makes it more resistant to rust and so on. So it allows it to last longer without being brittle, with being stronger. All of your electrical conduit, your brake rotors, all these things are galvanized. They're zinc coated. So if you think about it, you come get galvanized, I make you stronger and more resilient for the future.
That's crazy. It's like 2, 3, 4 pieces just come together. You're like, oh, last name Szink, galvanized, metal, fitness.
Yeah.
So cool.
It all worked out so well. It's just super cool.
That took some thought behind making that name, but it all worked out.
It was one of those things where I was kind of thinking about it. And then and I was like, oh, wait a minute. It was
really
super cool.
Well, thank you for being on the show. It's been really cool to hear more about your story, the stuff you do, the many hats you wear. It's just been really cool to sit down and talk with you.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on here. I had a great time.
Thank you all for listening. If you want to utilize his services, the gym, the nonprofit, learn more about that stuff, we'll tag all of that stuff below. Thank you all for listening. Look forward to seeing you in the next episode.